We're back on Middays with Mannix and Mannix. Jeff and Taylor with you. And right now it's time for a Strengthen Me local sports spotlight. Get tips, resources, and support that'll help you find your way to better wellness with Strengthen Me. It's free, anonymous, and confidential. Visit strengthenme.com or call 211. The Maine Firecrackers women's basketball team getting ready to head down to Pennsylvania for a big championship tournament down there after winning the Run for the Roses in Kentucky. Here to talk all about that, he's from XL Thunder and the Maine Firecrackers, one of their coaches. He was also an analyst on our state championship basketball coverage here on 96.3 WJJB, The Big Jab, our first time doing that here in 2023. Abby Davids joins us on the phone right now. Abby, thanks for spending some time with us. Congratulations on the trophy.
Yes. Thank you, guys. It's awesome to be on. Thanks for having me again, and it's going to be good to talk about the women's game in this state.
Well, the women's game in the state clearly is pretty strong. If you're able to take a team of all-star players here and win a trophy, which, I mean, the Run for the Roses, if you could, give us a little background on that. I know, we're talking a lot about Peach Jam on the boys' side of things here within the last couple of weeks. How important on the girls' circuit is Run for the Roses?
It's right there. When you talk about Peach Jam on the boys' side, Run for the Roses is comparable on the girls' side. It's that one premier tournament that everybody knows about. I think somebody told me there were 13,000 girls competing in that tournament. Wow. From all age groups from all over the country. There were teams from California, Texas, Idaho. We even ran into a team from Australia, so in and out of the country. So it's a prestigious tournament, and just to be able to play there and battle and compete was great. But to win the whole thing with one of our groups was phenomenal.
Yeah, and again, you played some teams from Georgia, Connecticut. I mean, take us through the tournament and how it's structured and how things went, of course, once you got to the knockout round and what led to that championship.
Yeah, so we were there for, I think, equivalent of about 8 or 9 days. There were two separate kind of tournaments. There was like the Classic and the Championship. The first 4 days we played the Classic. Teams fell a little bit short in that first round, but then we got to the championship round, and one of our teams, our Firecracker Orange team, that's the only team that competed in the championship. Our other two teams were part of another league format, which we play the championship of this weekend, called Select 40. But the team that was competing in Run for the Roses, they did really well in the Classic, and they won a game on day 2 of the Classic, a game that I didn't think we had really any business being in, and we won it quite handedly, and it kind of opened my eyes a little bit to how good we actually were playing at the time. And it was from there, it was just full steam ahead. The girls played the best basketball that I've been a part of for a very long time.
Wow, that's saying something right there, Abby, as I know you've been around a lot of talented players here. So this Firecracker Orange team, who's on it? Who are the names that might be recognizable, and who really shined down there in Kentucky?
Yep. So if you give me 1 second, I can read you that roster.
All right.
So we have, your Audra Mackey, kind of doing her last go around with us. Caroline Hartley from Scarborough. Grasa Billa goes to NYA. Lucy Wild, up there at Hamden Academy. Mackenzie Lombardi from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Maddie Warner played at Brunswick this last year, and Natalie Santiago from Deering, and Ruth Bowles from Chevrolet. So that's the roster, and I'll tell you what, everybody was a standout. You can't play basketball for 8 days without having everybody stand out and shine in moments of the game. but I'll say what made us special was the steadiness of Caroline Hartley, Natalie Santiago, and Lucy Wiles. Their steadiness with the ball really, really made us special. And Mackenzie Lombardi, who not many Mainers know about because she's from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, in the championship game, she hit 7 threes, and it wasn't the only time that tournament that she hit over 6 or 7 threes.
Wow. Shooter right there in her. That's awesome. And you mentioned it too. I mean, Hartley from Scarborough, Santiago from Deering, both those extremely close to, our listening audiences. I'm sure just hearing that that gets fans excited, even hearing Chevers in the mix. How do you go about getting all these girls to kind of come together? Obviously, you mentioned it, even out of state, you have them all kind of a little bit of rivalries too within Class AA there with Deering and Scarborough. How do you get a group of girls like that to come together to all kind of go down there and battle together and then come away with a championship? It definitely seems like it's a little bit of a task.
It definitely is a task. A lot of contrasting styles, and I've kind of been waiting to tell this story since you guys invited me on. Week one, after they played the first week, I think I had to tell a couple of players, I won't name anybody by name, but I had to tell a couple of players, you're not playing for your high school anymore. You don't have to take every shot. And the bad shots that sometimes you take on your high school are okay because you're one of the best players, but a bad shot with us is just simply a bad shot. You cannot take that shot. And week one, Lauren and I were looking at each other like, I don't know if this team's going to make it. I don't think they won a game for their first 2 weekends. We're playing pretty good competition, but they were playing way below par. Selfish basketball. They're not all bought into each other. And it was turnover after turnover after turnover. And I don't know what really clicked. We always speak about togetherness and family and trust. And at some point during the season, it all just clicked and the ball stopped bouncing on the floor and started getting passed around. And people were sharing the ball, and there was more ball movement and body movement, which led to more beautiful basketball, and people were more open to shoot threes. And once it clicked, they just kept it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a story of perseverance here for the team after struggling early on. Where I'd love to know, were you racking your brain at those moments, kind of with the coaching staff, of how do we fix this? Because clearly this team's better than it's playing, and I mean, you said you just kind of don't know necessarily, but I want to know what your thought process was over that time, and what did you try to do to aid the process of getting the team to be where it needed to be?
I think my approach when we're struggling as a team is, who can I find as a leader to help us through this mess? Because a player-led team is always going to be more successful than a coach-led team. So who can I lean on? So I leaned on different people at different times. And I would say leaning on Natalie Santiago seemed to be what really changed things for us. She became a lot more unselfish in her game and started to trust other people and really started to doing the little things. And once she started doing that, I feel like everybody else kind of, followed suit and began to do that also.
Yeah, and for Deering, they got a good one coming back in her. I mean, I know that last year, Greg and I talked about her a lot in the high scoring, and despite, the team Deering maybe not having much success, she had a great season herself with a lot of the numbers she racked up, and she's a great player. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe she was a glue girl for you guys on this run. And looking at that Pennsylvania now, where you guys are heading next, what do you think the challenges you guys will face there, and what are some things that you're taking from that run to the Roses tournament heading into this one that you guys are looking to maybe improve on, or do you feel you just got to remain rock steady going into this thing and it's yours to lose?
I feel like with our Orange team now, I think they're playing with confidence, which is helping them a lot. I think they're playing with, we're very good basketball players. We proved that we can win. We can beat teams on paper that might have better athletes. They might have, some better one-on-one scorers. But as a team, as a collective unit, we can be productive, and they've shown that, and it's great, to see a group of girls from Maine kind of coming together. And we're not always the best athletes on the floor, and we don't always have the best one-on-one players on the floor, but at times we play the best basketball out there.
And Abby, clearly excited for this trip here. But, we've talked about Maine United, and they kind of are just a group of players who came together. You there at XL Thunder obviously merged with the Maine Firecrackers, but the Firecrackers have been an established team for quite a while that has been home to a lot of the great talents that we all know from women's basketball here, from the state of Maine, national championships at the AAU level from this program. So this is a more of an established program here a little bit, but why do you think that whatever that Firecracker brand is making that teaching so good? You're one of the coaches involved there, but what makes this Firecrackers grouping here and organization so good at bringing talent along?
And so when Don Briggs and Brian Clement passed on the program to me, we sat down for lunch, and we sat down for 2.5, 3 hours and had a great conversation. But there's only one thing I remember coming out of that meeting, and it's that we're different. And they were hoping that I would, continue to be different and have the program different. So what that meant was different expectations from the players. We play different than everybody else. We hold our kids to a different standard. And I feel like we've continued that, and that continues to show in how we play and the type of people, before basketball players, the type of people that we have in our program. And if you look at, the orange team obviously having that success, but if you look at our white team, which is Addison Silikowski, Emma Lazar, some of the names that people will be familiar with in the state, Natalie Bodwin. Give me 1 second.
Well, I don't mean to interrupt you either, but Natalie Bowden, she just accepted a scholarship, I believe, to the University of Vermont, correct?
Yes, she did. Hey, and funny enough, guess who's in the back seat driving a PA with Lauren and I?
The future, what is it, Catamount?
Catamount.
The future Catamount is in the back seat.
That is incredible. Well, tell her congratulations for us. I know Lewiston and is extremely proud of her, especially after the season she had. I believe she has a sister, too. Is she coming back for another senior year?
I don't think she has a sister on the team. She has a younger sister that plays soccer.
Gotcha. Maybe that's the name I've seen as a soccer guy. Why I've seen the name before.
That would do it. For sure. Well, Abby, go ahead.
Said she has a cousin.
Cousin,
okay.
Gotcha, okay. I've seen the name floating around, and it seems to be affiliated with talented basketball players. So,
well,
definitely. And so Ella Pelletier, Mary Maxon are also on that team. Just to list a few, that team is really, really rolling right now. And they're a bunch of girls that are okay being different, playing a different way and, being held to a different standard. So they play in their championship weekend of the Select 40. So we'll see how those girls do this weekend.
Yes, will be interesting. And is there any way where folks can follow you there in Pennsylvania if they'd like to?
Yep. So we'll keep everyone updated through our Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
Just at Maine Firecrackers. We'll keep everybody updated. We'll post on our stories kind of the scores and how we're doing and how the girls are advancing through bracket play.
All right. Abby Davids, a coach with Maine Firecrackers basketball. We appreciate it. Safe travels down to Pennsylvania, and best of luck down there.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
You got it. Abby Davids, again, from Maine Firecrackers basketball with another Strengthen Me local sports spotlight. Get tips, resources, and support that'll help you find your way to better wellness with Strengthen Me. It's free, anonymous, and confidential. Visit strengthenme.com or call 211. We'll be back to take phone calls again next. It's Middays with Mannix and Mannix.